Right, everyone. Looks like we have the graveyard shift because everyone's leaving, but I think we can crack on. Hi, everyone. So my name is Danny Gray. I'm 38 years old. I'm a dad of two young boys, Roman and Rudy, who are 8 and 4. So I'm in the trenches in a minute. They're not really. They're my life. But I do suffer with a mental health condition, which is called body dysmorphic disorder. So that is an obsession about the way I look. From everything from my clothes, what I'm wearing today, my hair's an absolute, I was going to swear then. Can I swear? Probably not. I do swear quite a bit. My hair's a nightmare. I had it cut today because I was doing a talk. It takes me about an hour. But look, the reason I suffer with that condition is because when I was 12 years old, I was jack the lad at school, captain of all the football teams, played South England cricket, girlfriends, I'd say pretty popular. But my ears used to stick out at right angles. They were that bad, my mum wouldn't let me outside when it was windy. Everyone can laugh at that. But look, what it was, I was on the playground one day and 3 lads were over in the corner and they turned round and they started flapping their ears and singing the R. Kelly song, I Believe I Can Fly. Can everyone remember that song? Yeah? So I can't listen to R. Kelly now, which is a bonus. But I went home and looked in the mirror and literally, that was it for me. So within 6 months, my mum made a conscious decision to have my ears pinned back on the NHS. So thinking that would fix the issue, but it didn't, because I did nothing about this. And this is what's really important. So 12 years old, that happened to me. A few years later, I get to about 15. What happens when you're 15? I was a late bloomer. Spots, acne. So I had a few spots, turned to my sister, she gave me some makeup. I couldn't believe what a product could do. So I've worn makeup now every single day, got it on today. And it was another tool that I've used because my mental health was gradually getting worse and worse. And actually the stark reality in society now is that the average from when something happens to someone over here to when they reach out is 10 years. And that's what's happening. So my journey, that was 12, 15. My journey was actually 18 years. So that happened to me at 12, 15, wearing makeup. I did nothing about this. 18, 19, what happens then? Going out on the lash, trying to get girls. And getting ready for me was a disaster. For 4 or 5 hours, getting ready, multiple showers. So my mental health was gradually getting worse and worse. Had a bit of a corporate career. I started a bouncy castle company when I was 15, believe it or not, on wheelbarrows. I've always been entrepreneurial. Got to 28, and that's when it really hit me. Got my car after work one day, looked in the rearview mirror, and I was like, holy shit. There was a gap in my hair, just here. Tiny, tiny gap. But that was it for me. Every minute of every day for 2 years, all I thought about was hair loss. And as you can see, I'm very fortunate. I'm actually not losing my hair. I even had a hair transplant. I didn't even need one. That's how bad my mental health got. And eventually, that was my crisis period over here. And then got to 30, and eventually I put my hand up and I spoke. I woke my mother-in-law up, 4 o'clock in the morning, off my head, and said, I can't deal with what's going on in here. And that's the problem in society. No one's talking. No one's talking. And every message you see on every advert, every campaign you see, the Norwich City campaign was very good, but all it is awareness of mental health, that there's a problem and you need to talk, but no one's talking. The mental health crisis is worse today than it's ever been, because there isn't a solution. So anyway, there's my story really quick. And but then after 30, put my hand up, researched what was going on in my brain and my mind, and I'm as strong as I've ever been today, and I'm gonna be stronger tomorrow. But there's a couple of brands I started after 30, which hopefully we can just show you a very quick video, and then I'm gonna introduce this amazing person here, and why we're here. It all started back when I was 12 years old, when I got bullied in my middle school for the way I looked. This had a massive impact on my mental health. So much so that I now suffer with something called body dysmorphic disorder. However, I have been using tools to help me manage my mental health, including makeup. That's why I created a men's makeup brand, War Paint.
It's not called makeup, it's
War Paint for men. War Paint founder Danny Gray.
Danny Gray.
It is makeup for men, and it's called War Paint.
War Paint has gone unbelievably well. However, I was getting so many messages from customers, not to ask me about product, but my own journey with mental health. It made me realise that there's a massive need for information from the right sources and the right people. That's why I created JAAQ, a free mental health platform for the world.
We can exclusively reveal a brand new free interactive online tool.
JAAQ.
JAAQ with a Q.
Just ask a question.
I can imagine businesses using JAAQ. I can imagine schools using JAAQ.
This could literally change the world.
You look at this and you think, why was this never done before?
I could never have imagined where this would go. The very first in the world JAAQ coffee shop. This is where the warriors are done. It's incredible what we've achieved so far. Could you imagine what we're going to achieve in the next few years? This is JAAQ, changing the world of mental health, one question at a time. I'm just going to freeball. I think it'll be all right. All of these topics, road to recovery, go and check this out. Hi. JAAQ. So good. Okay, yeah, I'll start again. So I just go, yeah? All right, so Will Whistle Store, I created a men's makeup brand. It's called War Paint for Men. And all we wanted to do there was create a cool brand in not a cool space to try and give men an option to try makeup in what I've tried before. And it went pretty well. Got a lot of hate at one end, but the product did do very well. Created the JAAQ is a mental health platform. It's completely free. JAAQ.org, it stands for Just Ask a Question, where we film loads of people, celebrities, world-leading doctors, everyday people about different aspects of mental health, everything from eating disorders to mindfulness. You can go on there, you don't need to talk, you can click a question to get the right information. We launched the platform 2 years ago, about 18 months ago, and we had over 500,000 visits to the platform, not to spend a penny on marketing. And then finally for me, while Adidas is here and Jazz, the most important thing was to create an amazing brand. I think that's what's missing in mental health. Apple is an amazing brand, Steve Jobs. Red Bull, terrible fucking drink for you, terrible. Amazing brand. They market it beautifully. The byproduct of both those is selling a product. If I was to ask anyone in the room here today, who is the Apple, who's the Red Bull, who's that cool brand of mental health, who's that like cool brand that's doing cool stuff? If anyone knows one, shout one out now. I genuinely believe that's what's missing. If you create the right brand, a product doesn't change the world, a person won't, a brand definitely will. So that's why we've partnered with amazing brands. Alpine, Formula One, Harlequins are on the cars, and we've done a big partnership with Adidas. So introducing you to Jazz, a European champion, Adidas athlete, who's on the JAAQ platform, who's going to tell you a little bit about her own journey about becoming an athlete and mental impact of that.
Yes, hi.
Give a round of applause, everyone. Round of applause, round of applause.
Hello, everyone. I am Jazz. I am a long jumper for Team GB most of the time. I'm currently in this. I ruptured my Achilles about 7 weeks ago. So there'll be no long jump this year. But usually I'm out there competing. I'm also a commentator and presenter, so I'm hoping to do a little bit more of that this summer. And like a lot of athletes, I came to sport just from trying it at school. You know, you're in primary school, your school's got some form of sand pit somewhere on a field where someone's dumped a load of sand and some teacher's been miserable having to do it. That is what I tried at school. I loved it. I was already doing gymnastics at the time, but begged my parents to take me over to athletics. And kind of the rest is history. I never stopped. The lovely thing about athletics compared to sort of a team sport is if you're the best, it's objective. If you jump further than everybody else, then you keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And I did a brief stint in heptathlon. Didn't like running the 800 meters, so skipped back over to long jump. Have spent a little bit of time in bobsleigh. Went on The Voice and was on Team Will.i.am. I like to keep things varied and do as many interesting things as I can think of. And that kind of brings me into Ben's question about mental health and being an athlete and sort of the life that I have as a professional athlete. And for me, what I've learned in my time is that doing things that aren't just focused on my sport is what keeps my mental health good. I think a lot of people try and push the narrative that you have to be blinkers on, one-track mind to be an athlete. You have to be obsessed with it. It's the only thing you ever think about. You eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's the only thing you ever do. My message generally as a pretty good athlete is that it doesn't have to be that. You can be an athlete and 7 other things. And this year I've put that to the test more than ever when I've had the opportunity to be an athlete in Olympic year. Something I've been working for my whole life has been taken away from me by an Achilles rupture. But that doesn't mean that my whole identity has been taken away from me because I never put that all into one thing. So for me, JAAQ is the perfect partner for Adidas because that's also a brand that wants to push that exact thing. We're creators in Adidas.
Amazing. So she did just drop in very sneakily there. You were on The Voice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh my God, please give us a song. Go on.
I'm not warmed up.
Really? That's unbelievable. Not only is she an athlete, she was on The Voice. Because look, these shoes, I actually, when you turned up, I was like, oh my God, they are rascal Adidas shoes. And then I realised, look at that. It's incredible. So look, this is an Olympic year. Obviously, you've built your whole life towards being in an Olympic year, right? Being an Olympian. So having this happen to you, how did that affect your... Look, and the other thing, just really quickly, guys, everyone thinks the word mental health is an illness. It's not an illness, right? There are illnesses within mental health, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, all of these things, they're illnesses. And if you think about physical health, if you break your arm, that's what these illnesses are. You don't go to the gym because you've broken your arm, you go every day. So I don't want to think like, how has your mental health been affected this year by that happening to you?
To be honest, I think the way that it sounds too big to say, but the way that I've set up my life means that I've been able to handle this and handle my mental health really well. Because initially, you have the instant shock and the disappointment and the devastation that, everything that I've worked for here is gone. But you go, okay, well, what does the year look like then? And I have an answer to that. And I think for a lot of athletes, that the only thing they can think about is the Olympics. It's the only thing that happens this year. It's the only thing I'm focusing on. I have nothing else going on. For me, that's not the case because I've tried to design it like that. Because when I was younger, I fell foul to the idea of athletics is everything. Because if one thing is your everything and it's taken away, then you feel like you have nothing. It's never true. You never have nothing, but it can feel like that. And so I actually feel my mental health hasn't been too severely impacted because I've got other things going on.
Well, so already there's an understanding, right, that it wasn't your everything. It is your everything, but you've got a plan B. So that's always going to help you those terms of things. In terms of JAAQ, so Jazz is on the JAAQ platform in partnership with Adidas, got Adidas athletes, all talking about mindset. Why do you think what we try and talk about at JAAQ is it's really difficult to speak, right, for a lot of people, and they wait till they get to crisis. So why do you think it's important for people to understand what's going on here? A bit like you there, so your brain, you've got something else, you've got other things going on, right? You can be a presenter, you can be this. So what would you say to people about the JAAQ platform and how it differs?
Well, for me, it's completely unique. There's nowhere that you can go to see people, especially specialists in their own fields, and see exactly how their brains work, what goes on in their heads, how it works to be an athlete at the top of their game or an athlete at the bottom of their game. That's something that I think we don't hear that much from. A lot of times in sport, someone's on top of the world and it's interviews after interviews and you're hearing from them nonstop. They have a bad year and they seem to vanish because nobody wants to speak to them. What's going on with them there? JAAQ answers that question. And for an athlete, as an athlete myself, to be able to go there and see other people and see how they handle it, some tips, an idea that I might just not be alone in feeling like that because there's nobody out in the world speaking about it because nobody wants to talk to them. So having JAAQ and being able to go, okay, this is what I'm going through. Has somebody else gone through it and how did they manage it? It's totally unique.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And the reason I'm not trying to sell you this, by the way, it's free. Yeah. So hopefully I'm not trying to oversell you what JAAQ is, but it's free. Look, this is a youth marketing conference. So there'll be some young people in the audience. What would you say to people, like young people trying out in business, trying to be better than themselves, trying to be an athlete? What would you give what was your one bit of advice?
Keep your smaller hobbies. Hang on to the things that you don't think are important, but that you like. Because one, those will start, when you do multiple things, your brain works in multiple ways. The way an athlete would solve a problem is not the same way a singer would solve a problem. And if you're both, then you have two different tools from two different areas to help you wherever you may end up. You're probably going to end up with your life headed in one general path, but that doesn't mean you can't have so many others weaving around it. You don't have to stop doing the smaller things. Keep doing them.
Perfect. So when we're about young people here, right? So I've got a big thing about children in terms of another stat. Right? I love a stat, ladies and gentlemen. 60% of mental health conditions start before the age of 14, right? Which is, for me, is the problem. This is where if we're going to not solve the mental health crisis, it's all about prevention. And I think that a lot of the way we educate children is a little bit broken, especially in terms of mental health. So I'm going to ask a question. You know, I talked about Apple a minute ago. I talked about Red Bull. Can anyone shout out, what's the number one drink for Generation Alpha? Generation Alpha. I'm not even Gen Z, so I've got lost with Gen Z. But Generation Alpha, what is the drink they all bang on about? Shout out. 100%. Do you think children are going around and want to drink they drink a strawberry and go, oh my God, it's amazing, I want to try the lemon? Of course they don't. They want every colour. The drink's fucking terrible for you. But what is it? What is it? What is Prime? It's a brand. Yeah? So kids are excited by brands. And we were talking earlier, you can sell anything to anyone through a brand. So later on next year, in February, we are launching JAAQ Junior. So this is an interactive platform that's going to be free for children, because who is the people kids don't want to talk to about anything? 100%. So kids on our platform, we've interviewed loads of amazing young children with autism. There's conversations on divorce, right? So my parents got divorced when I was 6 years old. It was a fucking disaster for 3 months when I was 12. Thought it was the end of the world. Made them hold hands. After 3 months, I was like, actually, it's a lot better. My dad's actually happy. My mum's happy. And I get to see my dad even more. Imagine giving that education to these kids who are going through stuff up front for an interactive platform. That's cool. We've just launched 2 weeks ago. We're on all of the Alpine cars. They just gave us a 12 million. I shouldn't tell you how much it is. Please don't record it. They just gave us a £12 million sponsorship deal in partnership for us. We're all over the cars. So do you know what a kid will do in class? Because you know what they're doing at the minute for mental health classes? How are you going to educate a 13-year-old boy or girl, who's thinking about boys or girls and vaping? And they're sitting at the back of the class like this. Because what we've got a lot is education. We understand mental health, the science of it, but I'm going to be quite blunt. The science is what's delivering the marketing to people earlier on in their journey. Crisis is brilliant to have stick men and flowers, and it's safe here. But down here, do you think a 13-year-old lad is going to be excited by stuff we're showing them? Cut through a brand, and you can educate. So we're launching JAAQ Junior. So the reason I'm telling you that, it's going to be free. Schools want to use it. We've just done a survey across loads of schools, and it's the way you educate. So we've got about 5 minutes left. It's a lot we've sort of talked about there, but I'd love to open up to any Q&A. This is scary because it's probably going to go very quiet. Yes, we got one very quick.
Mike, I've got lots of questions, but main one. So, for content, we are a charity with a chatbot.
Yeah.
What was your decision making? Why they have videos for people to watch rather than having someone to talk to at the end of it?
Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, let's go up to crisis. Okay, there was a 31% increase this year on calls to the suicide hotline to CALM, Campaign Against Living Miserably. So that doesn't scare me. What scares the life out of me are people not calling. So people are very brave, the ones who pick up the phone, and we can potentially help them. So there's a lot of people who aren't calling, and the chatbot is great to a certain extent, but how do you get empathy from a chatbot? How do you get that feeling of you're not alone from a chatbot? It's great. It is a great intervention right up here. If you don't want to call, maybe have a chatbot. So what I wanted to do was interview these people Like, we've got the world-leading doctor on eating disorders, Professor Janet Treasure. She's been classed #1 in the world. She's speaking for 7 hours on a platform. You can ask her 170 questions. Campaign Against Living Miserably, we've got Wendy. She's answering the top 150 questions asked on the call, but she's doing it to you down the barrel. And there's people with lived experience on there as well that you can ask the same questions. So chatbots definitely have a place because it's instant and that, but the empathy and feeling alone is the biggest problem with mental health. And when you can relate to someone, I think it's really important. So up here, that's really good. But a lot of people down this end, I think they need that connection to someone without actually having to talk, which is really important. So hopefully that makes sense. I do like we should chat though, because I do like I just haven't got a chatbot mate, if I'm honest. But I'd like one. So, any others? Yeah, we've got one over there. Is there?
Thank you. So I think we know that, like, undoubtedly Gen Z are suffering from a mental health crisis, but there's almost a bit of a paradox, isn't there? Because they're probably the most open generation when it comes to kind of talking about it. Do you think that maybe brands are recognizing this and endorsing mental health maybe in more of a surface level way that might be a bit more tokenistic and not actually like sustained engagement with the issue?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't answer that because this tees up Adidas. God, I'm quite brutal on this. I agree with you. There's a lot of tick boxing that goes on with mental health. I don't necessarily like mental health awareness days because I think what happens on those days, everyone does something, puts stickers up on the wall, and it's forgotten afterwards. And a lot of organisations, there are tick boxes, exercises. God, I don't want to be too brutal, but this is the problem that's happening in mental health. And a lot of the campaigns are awareness campaigns, and they're not getting to the crux of what the real problem is about people. Even though the younger generation are more open to talk about it, they're not really. Because 13 to 18, there's more people in a mental health crisis than over 45. So that do you know what I mean? Even if we think they're more open to talking about it, they're not. And a lot of organisations, it definitely is tick box. And what they do, a lot of them as well, I don't want to say a brand, right? But, guys, sorry, I feel like I don't want to say too much because, you know, brands who become a £1 billion business, £1 billion, and all of a sudden they float, they smash everywhere. We've started this charity. We're giving money to a charity, everyone. And we're going to put it all over everyone to show what amazing work we're doing. That is whitewashing. Because it's 1%, it's 0.1% of a bottom line. They're giving money to someone else. And look, I'll be brutal as well. The charity model is dying. And so the charities do amazing work. I started JAAQ as a charity, not for profit, because I thought that's what I was meant to do, because I'm doing this not for money. I want to change the world. I soon saw it was impossible to get money now, because organisations, you know, that whole thing about giving to charity, what you're just saying, people are seeing through that now and thinking, well, where's your sweat capital? And that's where all of our brand partners are giving us sweat capital. So Adidas, Jazz, giving their own time. Adidas, there's no money exchange. They're giving us their athletes, like Formula One have given us things on their car. We've interviewed their drivers. They're giving us time, and a lot of work have gone into this partnership. That is sweat capital. You know, that's them going above and beyond. And that's me shouting about my partners, which is incredible. But there is a lot of that going on. Did anyone see the Norwich City football campaign? That went viral. Waste of time. Hear me out. Hear me out. It went viral. Okay? Goes viral. All that campaign was about, that went viral, is awareness. Can everyone raise your hand in this room? Raise your hand if you are struggling. Are you aware you're meant to talk about your mental health? Raise your hand. Do you know you're meant to talk about your mental health if you're struggling? Pretty much everyone in the room. So the job's done. Everyone knows you're meant to talk, but you're not. So what that campaign did for me was do awareness that suicide's a problem. We already know that. And then what it did show you was that the person who actually took his own life was the guy who's really happy. So you come away from that campaign, all right, now I know suicide's a problem, but now I've got to check out that my mate who's probably really happy is the one who should take his own life. That's made me feel, what is that giving you in terms of actually here's something to help you? It's all it is all of these are campaigns about awareness. We need no more awareness campaigns about mental health. We need to get to the crux of the problem and try and help it. And honestly, it's education. Understanding what's going on in your brain. Right? Little things, cold showers every day, right? Your diet, exercise, right? If you played the clarinet when you were 12 years old as a boy, but you stopped it because it wasn't fucking cool, and then you get to 20 and you're really struggling, imagine just try the clarinet 10 minutes every day. Might change it. Because what's happening, something's happening to someone here, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and then when you get here, you are in big trouble like I was. So we're going to get to people earlier, because life is difficult. there's a lot of stress going on, right? It's normal. That's going to happen. So what do you do to combat it? All these little things. Like my wardrobe is immaculate. I have to plan my outfits, right? When I get ready, if I get ready twice, I have to stop, sit in my pants in my kitchen for 15 minutes because it resets me. And that's ridiculous. That's an awful sight. But it's just little things that I've done. I'm not perfect. I struggle pretty much every day. But little things can impact you. And imagine just giving that. Sorry, finally for me, I know I'm going on. Ice cold baths has become a thing. That has been around forever. Right? Cold therapy is forever. Why is it now popular? Because it's gone mad on social media. Well, why did it go mad on social media? A brand. And what was that brand? Wim Hof. Because he was quirky, he was cool, he delivered it in a good way, and everyone's doing it and seeing the fucking... It releases 2.4 times the amount of dopamine than cocaine over a longer period. I know which one I would rather do, but Wim Hof has made that go viral, and it's impacting people's lives and saving their lives, and it's just getting in cold water every day. That's a brand kicking through like that and educating. Sorry, I know I'm getting passionate about it, but little things can make a massive difference. I don't know if everyone's agreeing or they actually think I'm an idiot. But we just got to change the narrative. Make it cool. Mental health isn't got to be a thing that you just got to do when you're in trouble. Every day, if you work on it, you can change the world.